try to follow that. I have a tremendous amount of gratitude standing here today. And it has been a wonderful week for me to be able to spend time with Dr. Armstrong and Dr. Salee and Dr. Weeks and Dr. Hogue. And we have had some wonderful conversations, and I've learned a great deal about how much we have in common. I'm also filled with gratitude for the people that were here when I got here in 1978. And Dr. Ken Chatlos, who's seated by my beautiful wife, Holly. And also Dr. Chastain, who was my sociology professor and wrote the book that we used as a textbook, Uphill and Into the Wind. When I was here, I didn't, in many instances, realize what was happening with me and around me and to me and for me. But Jewell, through its liberal arts approach, gave me the opportunity to discover what I loved. And it also gave me the opportunity to discover what I don't love. I came as a business major. My father had attended William Jewell. He was an economist and an entrepreneur. And there was some thought that I might go into the family business. But I think that I knew when I got here that I wanted to be a criminal defense lawyer. But Jewell gave me the opportunity to test those other areas of academics and to see what fit for me. And they've given me a tremendous, and I would say, insurmountable challenge today. I'm a lawyer, and they asked me to confine my remarks to 5 minutes. It's like telling a Jewell student not to walk on the grass on the quad, or tell Donald Trump to make his hair look good. And that's not political, that's just the truth. He can't do it. But what Jewell allowed me to do was become a criminal defense lawyer. Something that I love. And when I came here, chapel was required. And you could find me dutifully every Monday seated in chapel at the designated hour on that corner seat way up in the balcony. I wasn't much of a conformist then either. But the lessons that I learned at Jewell, and including, I think, for the most part in my history courses, have served me tremendously well throughout my life. And have given me a perspective with which to represent my clients. One of the things I studied in Dr. Chatlos's classes was the debate between Erasmus and Martin Luther and the question of predetermination. And I won't go into too much of it because he's here and I don't want to get it wrong. But boiled down far too simplistically, Luther believed that there was predetermination. A man's fate had already been determined by God, and that God's grace was already a foregone conclusion for the chosen few, and that a man or a woman could not work to obtain God's grace through service or good works or any other endeavor. It was already written in the book of life. Either you were in or you were out. Well, you know, I don't talk to prosecutors about that when I'm plea bargaining a case. But I'm often told that the guy you represent, he's a bad guy. Well, I don't believe he's predetermined to be a bad guy. There are circumstances in his life, or her life, which have maybe caused them to commit a horrendous act at a particular time. But there are causes and effects that lead to those acts. And I can put in context for a prosecutor or a judge my client's background, his life in poverty as he was growing up, the abuse, the physical abuse that he suffered at the hands of his alcoholic father, the reason that he doesn't treat me with courtesy or respect is because he's never been treated with courtesy or respect in his entire life. And the petty crime that he committed wasn't born out of a life in which all of our physical and spiritual and emotional needs are met. It was born out of a life where each of those things was missing. And to me, that is an extension of the debate that I first learned about from Dr. Chetlos. If I could, I'm a lawyer, so I got to have a visual aid too. So is there a slide that we could put up? I have one slide. Can you all see that? I can't. But it contains two circles. And this is something that was shared with me by one of my mentors. Because of my frustration and my emotional angst and my criticism of the world and my frustration with the way things are. And he drew for me two circles. The inner circle is my area of influence. And at the time, it was the effective representation of my clients. The outer circle is my area of interest. The things that I care about. Poverty, world peace. I can't read the next one. Wrongful convictions, the criminal justice system, mental illness, alcohol and drug addiction. Inadequate assistance of counsel. Thank you so much. Dr. Hogue has been helping me all week. Homelessness. All of those things are things that I can't do anything about to a certain extent. But that inner circle, effective representation of clients, is the one that's before me. It's the one that I can do something about. And part of it is that every case is a death penalty case. Every case. Now, they're really not. And as a lawyer, if I view them as just a burglary or just a larceny or just a DUI, then I'm not taking into account the perspective of my client. That encounter with the law may be the first encounter he has ever had or she has ever had. And their life, as they know it, may literally hang in the balance. To them, it is a death penalty case. They may lose everything that they hold dear. They may lose their family, they may lose their liberty, they may lose their job, they may lose every asset they ever had. To them, it's a death penalty case. And if I think of it that way, and I give them my absolute best, either to vindicate their rights if they're not guilty, or to mitigate the punishment if they are. And I do that effectively, then my sphere of influence may actually grow. I may be able to be Chief Public Defender for Tulsa County and affect whether or not the indigent people in Tulsa who are charged with serious crimes receive the type of representation that every American and every person deserves. So that's where I concentrate. And it reminds me of a movie that my wife and I saw recently, and you may have seen it, called Bridge of Spies. I won't tell you how it ends because you may not have seen it, but it involves the Cold War and a Russian spy who was apprehended through an illegal search and charged with treason and faced the death penalty, and Tom Hanks, as his lawyer, represented him diligently and zealously and lost at every turn, and the client was completely demurred and never became flustered and never became upset and never complained about the judicial system or his lawyer. And Tom Hanks, as the lawyer, would say, "Don't you ever get worried?" And the quiet response was, "Would it help?" And of course, the resounding answer is, it would not. But the lawyer faces a different challenge. I do worry. And I do worry about my individual client. Because when I worry about my individual client, it makes me spend the late nights reading through the police reports and studying the Fourth Amendment law that may come into play to obtain the best result. So the bottom line for me is I worry when it matters. And if it wouldn't help, then I try not to. One of the things that I hope that I remember is that there are always more than one way to look at a situation or a tragedy. I represented Tim McVeigh, the person who was charged and convicted of the Oklahoma City bomb. Dr. Weeks responded to the Oklahoma City bomb and gave aid and comfort to people who had been critically injured or lost loved ones during that tragedy. And you would perhaps think that we were on different sides of a dispute, but we were not. Both of us, I believe, were trying to reduce human suffering. And I have to remember the perspective of the people who are alleged to be the victims of the crimes that my clients are charged with committing. I went way over the 5 minutes. And I'm going to walk on the grass on the corner. Let me leave you with this, if I might. Well, two things. I also took French, and my favorite phrase was "je ne sais pas." Clearly, some of you know that means "I don't know." And I always got that answer on the test correct. People ask me, why are you a criminal defense lawyer? How can you defend that guy that you know is guilty? Well, first of all, I may not know he's guilty. But something else that I learned when I was here at Jewell was something that Albert Camus said. That the justice of a society is not measured by how it treats its best citizens, but by how it treats its worst. I am so grateful for being here